welcome to Brass Tacks. Brass Tacks is a show about stuff. I'm your host, Dennis Horvitz. Brass Tacks is produced and directed by Fred Brass. And if you were watching last week, or if you weren't watching last week, I mentioned that for a long time we've been while we've been doing stuff, the stuff of our stuff has been about politics and social issues and culture. We are very happy to have with us Sonia Megías from Spain. Thank you for coming. And she was on last week, and she has very kindly consented to continue on for another segment. She was born in Almansa, Albacete, Spain. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been I've been trying to refrain from speaking too much Spanish or try to read it in Spanish because I don't want to scare you away. But she's been drawn to music. She was drawn to music from the age of 5. She's studied with some very important people in music in Spain, and I guess you've received a number of artistic grants, and you're here on a Fulbright scholarship, which is very prestigious, and they must think very highly of you to have brought you here. You've had several commissions to write musical pieces both in Spain and I guess in the United States as well. She has a series of videos that we were discussing in the last show, three of which I'll get to. I'll just mention briefly. It was one is called Triangle, which dealt with the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire in 1911. A kind of a fun piece, if you see it on YouTube, called Snow Ice, where they all got together in Connecticut and skated around and played on the sled, and you brought your little melodica, and you were towed all over the place. And so we want you to catch that before global warming completely removes any frozen ponds anywhere in the world. And the last thing we were talking about when we had to close the show was 3 separate pieces called Shelley 1, Shelley 2, and Shelley 3, based on the character Frankenstein, written by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, otherwise known as Frankenstein or Prometheus Bound. And we kind of had to stop. Before you got into saying what are you going to do with Shelley 3, basically, or what have you done? Because you've already done it. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So the piece is for solo soprano. So all this series is for solo performer. She needs to dress up as a mummy. So I could see that Frankenstein had some bandages. Yes. Before coming out to the world.
Right. I just for the people that didn't see us last week, both Shelley 1 and Shelley 2 involved instrumentation. In fact, very elaborate instrumentation. So you're saying that the Shelley 3 is it just vocals, or is there instrumental accompaniment?
Yeah, so each Shelley piece is for one person.
Right.
So the first one is for one clarinet, one clarinet player. The second one is for one accordion player. And the third one is for one soprano.
And so there's no musical accompaniment, it's just the voice?
It's just one.
Just one soprano, okay.
Yeah, one soprano.
Okay. Moving on from that, as I said, Sonia is a kind of an iconoclast. She's in the avant-garde, the musical avant-garde. And when I was researching her work to do this show, as I said to her before the show the other day, before the last show, I don't claim to be an artist and know anything about art, so rather than looking for something specific, I kind of let it find me. And so the things that we've been discussing about her pieces are basically the things that have jumped out that affected me, that jumped out at me. And one of note is called Es Particular, and in it is it's the use of things you don't ordinarily associate with music, non-musical objects, not only non-musical objects, but in a kind of a non-musical scenario. And the piece opens up with someone writing on a blackboard, and there's the the rhythm of the claw the chalk hitting the blackboard. And first there's the writing out. There's the person is actually writing, and then he makes a circle, and there's the rhythm of kind of syncopated rhythm of the circle, and then there's also a jump rope in the middle of the room. And one thing I noticed, because unfortunately I didn't have a chance to see it all the way through, but I noticed that there were points where the people who were playing instruments would stop and do some activity, and then resume the instrument, or go to another instrument, or change position. So what's the whole point of that piece?
Yeah, so that piece was a mix between two things. One was a school, because it was dedicated to my aunt Theodora, and she was a teacher at school. Now she's 87. And so that's why it has a school, and because there's a song for kids that is called El patio de mi casa es particular. So it's my house's courtyard is particular, is from us, it's not public, it's private.
So does that what es particular means?
Es particular is like, but also I mix it with the particles of an atom, so with physics.
Oh, very nice.
So then I make the musicians become an atom. That's why they enter and exit. So
that's outrageous, because the last show, it's funny, I mean, when I came down here, I never expected there to be any tie-in what we were saying, but when we met before the show, we were just getting to know each other, and I mentioned that I had been to the Rally for Reason and the 38th Annual American Atheist Convention. One of the people who was there was this professor from Arizona State University. He wrote this book, which I will hold up, give him a plug. It's called A Universe from Nothing, Lawrence M. Krauss. And basically, I've seen his, I've seen his lecture, several of his lectures, and this is what he talks about. He said that the universe is mostly nothing, and nothing has properties. It's very counterintuitive, because you kind of don't think like that. But he deals with things like particles, atoms. He's a physicist. He's a theoretical physicist. So it's kind of wild that. Without knowing it, that I was going to be covering that subject. So that's interesting that you're talking about the particles of an atom.
Yeah. So then I make them, so the original idea was make them enter to the jumping rope and jump and then go out and continue playing. But they told me, please don't make that to us, no, because they didn't want to maybe fail and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So what they are doing finally is they go into one of the sides of the jumping rope, just move it, and so the energy that is created by the jumping rope is like the energy of the atom.
Yes.
And they are like the particles that are coming and going.
It's very interesting, because we were briefly discussing quantum physics, and in quantum physics there are particles of an atom called quarks that they just come in and come out. They come out of existence, and they come in, they're just there, they just show up, and then they're gone. And this is going on constantly, all the time. Right now, in all of us, in everything. So we're not all completely here, that's basically. That's really true. It's a very hard concept to grasp, although once you get to know me, you'll know that I'm not all here. But anyway, but I just think that's what would you call that, serendipity? That I had no idea that I even while I was researching this, that I would be the tie-in would happen to be with what I was talking about earlier. So in es particular, that's the one thing I noticed, is that people would play, and then they would stop, and they would move to a different place, and
the thing is that
take turns with the jump rope.
The thing is that all the energy that is being condensed inside the sphere of the jump rope, and actually the music that they are playing is also going into this sphere, no?
Yes.
So when they stop the jump rope, all this energy comes, and I was at the audience, and I could feel that. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it just came out. and it was totally crazy. And someone else could, because I asked some other people that were with me, did you feel anything? Because it was, and they could feel that also.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like all the vibration from the instruments, everything is taken by this rope, is taken, and then when they stop it, when they tense it, then it comes.
Right,
So
right.
it was
Right,
crazy.
right, right.
That was the goal, and that was a commission from Spanish government. I was telling you. And that was my first commission from them, and now I'm finishing the second one.
Now, there's also a piece that I saw called The Creative Process, and I thought this was kind of a fun thing because it was kind of the way you express. I guess it's probably not the only way, but it's one way that you get your inspiration. And you should see this again. You should. On YouTube, if you type in Megías, Megias, there'll be a whole list of titles of different videos that she has done. And like I said, when I was selecting it, this is one of the more fun ones that I saw, called The Creative Process, in which she takes a tangerine and writes the word inspiration on the tangerine, and then you peel it and eat it, and then it just kind of comes. You just kind of draw.
So then I draw more or less what happens with the tangerine in myself, no?
Right.
So it makes roots, no?
It makes roots.
And then the piece, the creation comes as a tree, no?
Yes.
And then it just opens and.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
I actually made a little mini version of that, which I am not going to show you.
You can show it.
No. I don't want to.
It's quite.
No. I was trying. I didn't have the colored pens that you have, but basically it's like planting a seed, and the seed in the shape. The tangerine.
That's the inspiration. That's the inspiration.
Yes.
I think the moment of inspiration is very magical. For instance, this great artist Meredith Monk. She's a composer. She's from New York. Actually, she lives here. And she says something in one of her videos that is about what is composing, no? And she describes composing as a very deep listening of the world, no? And then you listen so open and so deep that you are able to perceive what is going on in other dimensions, and then this information comes through you, and then you just put it on the paper. But actually, so we are just like antennas, no? We are channels. I don't feel that my pieces are mine, so I'm just transcribing them, no?
Well, and again, going back to what we're talking about quantum physics, of course. There are those who, again, I'm kind of a skeptic about this, so I don't say I know or I necessarily agree or no, but I certainly consider the possibility. And of course, if you have been watching television in the last couple of years, you probably are aware that they postulate that there may be infinite numbers of universes, that it's possible. So I think that touches upon that process with this woman, Meredith Monk, you said her name was?
Meredith Monk.
Yeah. That in a world of infinite universes, there could be one that's exactly like this one, where each one of us is not there at all, and then or a twin, or it could be anything you can possibly. Well, as you said, if that is true, and I don't know for myself that I know that is true, but if it's true, I suppose anything you could possibly imagine could happen, But anyway, you brought some things you showed us some stuff last time, and what was this object that you needed someone to help you? I may have to be the one. I don't know. This has to be unwound, or can you just describe what this is? Can you get a shot of this?
I can describe it. Okay. I don't know if,
oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is it?
So it is a score, and
a score, great.
It is the score of a piece that has been made in a collaboration with Merche Blasco. So what we did is make a score that is not paper, because I'm always looking for ways to notate the music that I want to do. No?
So this is like a three-dimensional score.
Yes, three-dimensional.
Right.
It is for choir. It was written for a choir that I was conducting in Spain, an experimental choir, and it was premiered there. And this is the American version of the piece.
Uh-huh.
And we are performing it with the choir that I conduct here in New York that is called Coro Delantal. It is a choir that is not used to sing, but they are used to make strange things. They sing sometimes, but it is not a normal choir. No? So
and they make strange things.
Strange. They are very creative people.
Oh, good.
So then
we like strange things on this show.
Of course. So what we do is just we perform this. So we read this with the hands. So we don't need our eyes to read this score.
Oh, wow.
So we can close the eyes and just feel what's going on. So there's some notes. Every note is a breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And then every figure has a meaning, has an action implied, no?
Right. So, but in other words, just like with a musical score, if you come across a cube, you do a certain action, and then, and that's the same action every time you come across that cube.
The cube, yeah.
And you have a cylinder, a triangle, or a ball.
Yeah.
Okay, a star.
Heart. So there are some.
Okay. Now, with the score, and so I don't know if we can even do all of it, but if we did, would it hang as would it be linear?
Yeah, what we do is we place ourselves surrounding the audience.
Aha.
And then we make it like a cycle. So there's someone giving the score to the choir, and then there's someone taking it into one of these sticks. So, and then every person that is on the choir that is touching it with the hands,
right?
They do the action that.
So if I'm a person in this inside. I'm in the circle. No, the audience is inside the circle.
It's inside the circle.
Now
so they can perceive the piece
all around them. So right.
Like surround.
No, so but if I'm one of the people in the circle, so I'm going to start with the first knot. I'm going to, or well, however I breathe, and then now is there a certain time interval? Do I just pull it along like this?
And you give it to the next person.
And as the next person, and as
you breathe again. So
okay.
So all the beginning are notes, just breathing.
Right.
And then the figures will be coming.
Right. So then here comes to another.
But
note.
there's a long.
But I'm allowed to breathe between, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a specific breath that you have to take, right?
Yeah. And then I think the first figure is a long way out of this.
All right, I'm playing this solo, folks.
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Here is the first one.
I'm doing it. Okay, so very fast. So
the actions are like cell phone melodies or bird sound or jump. So there are some different.
So it doesn't. So with when you come to a shape, it doesn't. It can be an action, as well as a sound, or other than a sound.
Yeah. So what I do is that I gave a paper with some instructions to the performers, and they have to link with arrows the action to the figure. So each performer have linked a different action with a different figure.
Now, when you have some piece like this, whatever there's an action, for instance, the action that you ascribe to this cube, is that always going to be the same action, or does this change? Can you for the same performer, it's going to be the same action. But if you do it you do the same thing next week, it could be a completely different action or a different sound, right?
No, the same performer will do always the same for the
cube.
So
so it's whatever is associated with this cube will always be associated with that cube.
Every cube will have the same.
Right, and whether you perform it this week or whether you perform it, in other words, if you had a completely different set of performers,
that's the thing.
Would the sound would you tell them to do the same thing, or would you tell them to? Okay.
So each performer chooses what action is linked to each figure.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Every time the piece is performed, it will sound different.
Right. Okay. That's what I wanted. So in other words, you have your group of performers, and say they do it on Tuesday, and then you have me come over with my friends on Wednesday, and we each decide, or you decide which sound each shape is, and then it's a completely different piece, different piece, so that my group does it differently than the group that you had 2 days ago, say, or in the morning, for instance. So that's very good.
And we didn't say the name of the piece actually.
Oh, tell me the name of the piece.
It's The Time in a Thread.
The Time in a Thread.
Yeah, and
right.
It is on internet. They can Google it. So
oh, let me write that down.
Yeah, I invite you to Google it. I think it is not on YouTube, but it is on Bleep TV.
Okay.
So if you Google it, The Time in a Thread, and
good.
my name, you can find.
You know, I hope you will come back, because maybe the next time we can get a bunch of people here. Well, because that was one of the things that I was asking you earlier before the show. Do you ever have audience participation? Would you ever do something like this, and just give it to people who aren't familiar with your work?
Yeah, but more in workshops.
More in workshop. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Sometimes I use the audience to sing, but they were very simple things.
Yeah,
this is
well,
a
of
little
course.
more complex.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So for complex things, I need them to be with me maybe for half an hour at least.
Oh, well.
Explain everything.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, like a little workshop.
But no, the reason I say that is because when you have audience participation, and where everything that you do is so improvisational, I mean, that is really like. Well, not unlike with Shelley 1, where you don't know how the children and the audience are going to react. You know, if you have an audience participation and you just have a piece of work that neither the artist nor the audience knows what's going to happen at the end. You know, what's going to happen with it. You know, and I'm just wondering. Yeah. But it'd be kind of neat if you come back, and you know, if I know in advance to get some people here, maybe we could go out into the hallway and drag people, anybody we want, off the street. You know. I have a friend here. I was telling you about Nuri Jung, who has a show called Nuri Vision. She'll be taping on. She tapes on live on Friday nights at 8:30. And you know, maybe she's around. She'd like to kind of participate in it, or maybe even have. You might be a good guest for her to have, because she loves to talk to artistic people. So when I see her, I will tell her about you, because I know that she would love to. She's more artistic. Well, she's an artist. She. Most people are more artistic than I am, but I don't know. Sonia saw some.
He's an artist. He makes great.
No. Sonia, I showed Sonia some of my scribbling, which I had the presence of mind to get rid of.
Labyrinths.
Yeah, a tubular labyrinth.
Yeah.
Some scribbling that I did. She was very kind to me and said that it was artistic. I don't know.
It's true. It's
but I'm very honored. Don't embarrass easily. This is as close as I can to being embarrassed. But it'd be kind of fun if you know, maybe the next time you come back, now that you know we've had a chance to talk, and maybe even set something up in advance so that when you walk in, we could have something just that, bang, it happens. It happens.
A performance.
You know, kind of like you know, it's one of those things that we catch it on tape and then it never happens the same way again. You know, did you bring some other something else?
Yeah,
good.
Some other scores.
Oh, good. This is called Skins.
Skins #1.
Skins #1 for violin.
Yeah.
And you should have brought your violin with you, so.
Yeah. So it was written for Patty Kilroy.
It's particular.
Patty Kilroy. Yeah. She's a great violin player. She's at NYU, the same as me, and it was a part of a class that Julia Wolf was teaching us. And the name Skins is because she begins playing skin by skin, no? So this is a kind of transparent paper. It's a vellum paper.
Yes, right, vellum.
And she plays one skin, then she adds another one. And I had a person helping me to do this score that is really beautiful.
Can I just see this? So,
yeah.
So is the idea that she, that as she plays, she starts off, you know.
She plays the violin.
I guess here's the basic
cymbals.
staff. This is the basic staff without notes.
And then she adds the skins.
And so that would be played through.
Yeah.
And then.
She plays the violin with cymbals, not with the bow or something. Just
interesting. I'm just wondering how this would sound. So when you laid the skin on, because you have different clefs here, and I'm just wondering if how she would play all of those. In other words.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the 4 strings.
Yes.
The 4 strings of the violin.
It's like tablature.
It's tablature.
Right.
Yeah, totally that. So she plays this as tablature. This is right hand and this is left hand.
Okay, now I understand. Okay, now I see what you mean. So, and it's different positions on the violin, like this, or how?
She puts it on her knees.
On her. Oh,
and
wow.
she plays it like a little.
Well, you know, because like I play guitar, and there's a way to do it, like steel guitar with a slide.
Yeah, yeah. So
but there are some people. I forgot the guy's name. He's a blind guy. He passed away, unfortunately. He played blues and country rock, but he was blind, and he learned to play like this, and he was brilliant. But that's very funny. That's very interesting that you. And what kind of skin is this, by the way? Do you know, or is it fake?
So this was made, this version of the score, by Yarisa Colon, and she made this. I don't know. This is paper actually, but it's imitation of.
Imitation
like
snake skin
crocodile or whatever. Yeah.
Crocodile, yes.
And it is. Yeah, it is really gorgeous. Yeah, this version of.
This is a very. Could I just
yeah.
I mean, folks, I wish you could be here because it looks, it does look like animal skin, and it
very organic.
It has the texture of it, and I don't know. Can we get a shot of this, Fred, and whoever's in the. Yeah, here it is. See, and it does really have the texture. I guess either snake skin or alligator or crocodile skin. Probably more like alligator or crocodile skin.
Yeah.
But that's really great. That's really great that it's because having learned to play guitar to some degree on tablature, I recognized it. Good.
Yeah, another one that I can show you guys.
Okay. Yeah, this is.
It's a very long one. It is so long that we cannot show the whole.
Okay, but
it is like 10 meters.
Okay, can you get a two-shot of this? I don't know.
Yeah. So
okay, somebody's into. Okay. Well, in any case, this is you can't see it because of the lighting. I'm trying to adjust this. This is a very long score, but in any case, we are unfortunately running out of time. But I really mean it. I think you should. I hope you will come back and see us when you're in New York the next time. And maybe we can set something up because I would like there's some other talented people that I would kind of like you to meet and see what we can get going. You've been watching Brass Tacks. I've been your host, Dennis Horvitz. My guest has been Sonia Megías from Spain, who is here on a Fulbright scholarship and does all kinds of wonderful things with art and music. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks to you.
And thank you for watching us, and we'll see you next week. Great.
Okay.
That's what they call. I mean, this is.